What defines someone to be a narcissist?
A narcissist is, let's talk about it in terms of sort of the key kinds of pillars, if you will. It's a person who lacks empathy, who's really entitled, meaning that they expect special treatment to be given to them, but nobody else. They're very grandiose. They harbor huge fantasies. They only want to affiliate with people they think are as cool or as interesting as they are. They're very superficial. They're very concerned about their appearance, the appearance of people around them. I always think of them as beautiful facades with not a lot behind them. They don't regulate their emotions very well. They're very prone to throwing tantrums, getting angry very quickly, especially if they don't get their way. And they can be really hypersensitive to criticism. They're willing to dole it out, but they absolutely can't take it. So those are some of the key elements we see in a person who's narcissistic.
And just because someone has one or even maybe two of those doesn't make them a narcissist.
In fact, in my book, I have 30 characteristics I list. So it can go on a ways. I'm just giving you the highlights reel here.
So then how many would I have to be a narcissist?
I would say of that 6 I gave you, I'd expect to see all 6 really to call someone narcissistic. And then the longer list, for example, they tend to be jealous. They engage in something called gaslighting, where they literally doubt your own reality, leaving you feeling like you've gone crazy. They don't tend to be very loyal. They do tend to throw temper tantrums. They get pleasure out of the misery of other people. They're kind of mean.
Let's explain gaslighting a little more. What does that look like?
Gaslighting looks like, literally, like I said, when somebody kind of denies your reality. So you might say something like, I feel really sad that you said that to me. And they'd say something like, you have no right to say that. You have no right to feel that way. Or they'll say something, you'll have an argument with them, and they will have said something terrible to you a couple of days before. And you'll say, listen, when you said, and they'll say, I never said that. And so it's literally like they deny your reality. And when somebody says, I never said that, most normal people tend to question themselves. And so, in fact, I always say one of the ringers that you're in a relationship with a narcissist who's gaslighting you is you start feeling the need to voice record your conversations with them so you can play it back to them. I always say, once you feel like you need voice memos in a relationship, it may be time to get out.
We are sorry to interrupt you. Before we move on to our next point, we noticed that a lot of you are returning viewers who have not subscribed. If you've enjoyed our content, subscribing would mean the world to us. It's a small click for you, but it makes a huge difference for us. Thank you for your support.
Okay, I have been in a relationship,
A voice memo relationship?
where I thought, I am going to record our next conversation because you are just not believing that what has been said has been said.
Gaslighting.
Wow, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that person was a narcissist.
No, that can be a part of lots of different
Yes, but it could be a key indicator. Yeah, this is hard for a lot of people, I feel like, because we do in our society throw around that term all the time. You know, you get mad at somebody and say, well, they're being a narcissist. Or they want to have dinner at 8 and you're like, well, they're a narcissist. No, they just want to have dinner at 8, you know.
Right.
So these types of factors really help people narrow it in when they're actually dating narcissists. I'm really curious on when two narcissists date each other. In your practice, you are a clinical psychologist, you've talked to all these people. What does that relationship look like?
It's basically a psychological cage fight. I mean, honestly.
I shouldn't be laughing because this does affect a lot of people.
It's fascinating because what ends up happening is nobody's empathic, nobody's listening. It's like watching 2 3-year-olds playing at a table and they're not playing with each other, right? They're kind of each, how do I look? Do you want to do this? No, I want to do this. It's very, they're kind of playing by themselves. Everything actually goes well for a while because they really only care that the other one looks good, so they can deliver on that.
They only care that the other one looks good because it makes them
look good. So it's like this is like the guy is like, I need a hot girlfriend.
Right.
You know, it's that kind of a model of like, I need to look good, but my partner makes me look good. Wow. So it's almost these larger than life kinds of, almost too pretty couples that you sometimes make you wonder like, why is everyone looking so good
But
here?
don't we want a partner who makes us look good?
No, we want a partner who makes us feel good. There's a difference.
There's a big difference.
Yeah.
Yes. Amen to that. I get that.
So I think that what ends up happening is that when the first time one person, when there's two narcissists together, frustrates the other, then all hell breaks loose. Okay, so it gets to be when the fireworks go, they go big in these kinds of relationships. I always say, let the narcissists all co-breed, then we can kind of get them out of the normal dating supply. Just don't reproduce.
Just don't reproduce. Okay, so you have these two narcissists that are dating together.
Right.
Have you ever seen a couple, each of them were a narcissist, and they both admitted that they were both narcissists?
Absolutely.
Did those relationships succeed?
No.
No.
No, and I'll tell you what happens is that there's a point at which, I will tell you, there's a number of people I've worked with who've admitted straight up, I'm a narcissist, I know it. And now I can see how it's affecting, usually it'll be kids or family relationships or their intimate relationship. And they'll want to do the work, but then they'll recognize they have an almost childlike want or need for their partner to be something that that partner cannot be. And if that other person's also narcissistic, they're never going to change. So it's that's where it all gets stuck. But yeah, I've had plenty of people who are narcissistic admit it straight out and say, how far can we get with this? And
what's the response?
I'm like, by admitting it, we can get a little ways with it, but they'll often acknowledge like, yeah, no, the superficial stuff really matters to me. And as they get older, that's going to be a harder thing to pull. So it really gets, it can get challenging for some of them. People who are narcissistic often feel very empty inside. And that emptiness is a very difficult thing to fill. And even if they meet someone who's not narcissistic and fall in love with them, the problem is that poor person who's not narcissistic will often feel really unheard in that relationship. I've seen it turn a couple of times. It's pretty rare. It's pretty rare.
When you say you've seen it turn, what do you mean?
Like, in other words, that they're able to make a horse race of it. The narcissist stays in therapy. They're chronically encouraged and urged, say, try it this way. Please reflect back their feelings, be present with them, talk to them, but it's effortful for them. Whereas for the rest of us, like, we want to hear from our partners, we're in love with them.
That's right.
We're really rooting for them. This actually takes effort. I've had clients who are narcissistic text me and say, she just said this, what should I say? And I'll say, try this. And they'll do it, and they'll say, oh my God, that worked. And then it's almost like you're giving them a skill and teaching them to practice it. You're teaching them empathy.
Why would somebody be a narcissist? What creates that?
That's a really good question. Narcissists are made. They're not born. And so this is really a byproduct of parenting. This one falls largely on the shoulders of the parents. And listen, I've seen very well-intentioned, good parents wind up with narcissistic kids. Narcissism is really a byproduct of simultaneously overindulging and underindulging a child, which is sort of like, how do you do both? I'll tell you how you do both. You constantly give them credit for just achievements. You make sure that you have the most fabulous sort of family life. Whatever you can afford, you make it that. You focus on their appearance, you focus on their achievements, you focus on, we're going to have the best vacation, you're going to be the best player on the soccer team.
Wait, you're saying they should do these things?
No, that's what they do.
Oh,
so
I understand.
Overindulgence of attention on that. But at the same time, they underindulge that child's emotional world. They don't listen to their feelings. They aren't present with them. It's almost as though it seems at those moments they don't care. That kid's like, hey, Mom, let's play a board game. I can't be bothered. But then when that kid's on the soccer field, that mom's out there number one cheering. When it's their kid with a trophy, it's snap, 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 Instagram, Instagram, Instagram. And so this kid feels valued only really for those exterior kinds of qualities, and they don't learn to cultivate their inner world. In essence, they don't have a good mirror.
And that leads to a life of
It can lead to a life
challenges.
Yeah, it really can. Like, in essence, if neither parent is available. So you may have the picture perfect family, but if neither parent really is on board with the parenting, present, listening, doing the heavy lifting, the kind of boring part of parenting, that's actually how you prevent narcissism. And on top of that, children learn narcissism by watching it. So if the parent is throwing a fit at a flight attendant, or screaming at their teacher, or screaming at the coach, or storming into the restaurant saying, we don't expect to wait for a table, or why should we have to wait in this line? If the child sees enough of that kind of entitled behavior, they're going to learn to model it. Kids do what they see.
That's right.
Have anyone of our audience date narcissist? If so, what would your advice be? Please leave your comment below. We would love to hear from you.
Thank you for making it this far. If you like this video, you might want to share it with a like-minded friend. Thank you, and as always, stay blessed.